Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Daysofourlives, September 19, 2025. So we start off with JJ and Gabby, which to me, I feel like they ran out of material for JJ because, like, what was the point of him and the scene with Gabby? And there was another scene with him and Theo, and I'm like, why? Because, like, can't they give him some fitting material? Like, because honestly, I don't see the point of JJ on the show anymore. Honestly, like back in the day, I know all of us who watch Days Back in the Day with JJ, like he had so much interesting storylines between him and Eve and, him and Paige, him dating the mother and daughter and the whole thing when he was selling drugs at school, whatever. He was more interesting back then. But honestly, this was just pointless because he is stopping Gabby to say that he's sorry because now that the truth is out and they have the person that they think is responsible for EJ shooting, he's apologizing yet again for how he wrongfully accused her, right? So she's saying that she doesn't accept the apology, and he thought that they were good because he was the first person that she called when Ari went missing, and she said she appreciated him for that, but she felt as if, it's been weeks now. He should have at least apologized weeks ago. It's a little too late. And he tried. So at this point, she's just holding a big grudge. And he said, you know what? Forget my apology. Forget I even said anything. So he walked off. And I'm saying, like, at this point, like, it is what it is. If she doesn't want to forgive him for wrongfully accusing her. And also, again, it's his job, right? It's nothing personal. He was just going where the evidence is. And at the end of the day, she shouldn't have taken that personal, right? It's his business, right? But again, this scene was just pointless to me. Now, Stephanie and Jada are having a scene, and it's good to see Jada because it's been a while since we've seen her on TV. And I guess they cross paths now and then because they've both been busy with their respective jobs, so they take a while to catch up. And then Stephanie's saying that she may move in with Alex, and she's just asking Jada, like, the rooming situation. So Jada said that she's fine with Stephanie moving on. She's fine to cover the full rent, so it's no problem. But she said now, she's hesitant to move in with Alex because they had a big fight the day before, and she's wondering if this is a sign that they shouldn't move in together, that there may be more issues ahead. And she's just wondering if she's gonna make the right decisions. Maybe they can't stand each other. Maybe it's a bad move. They shouldn't be together, whatever. So Jada said, don't base it off of one big fight. It happens. It's best to go in, at least what you guys issues or concerns are without just living through rose-colored glasses, right? So she's saying also that she's contemplating whether she should stay with Ty in the Mirror because of the whole mess with the press meeting, and whether or not she should continue with the novel and all of that. So Jada said, look, I understand that you're spread too thin and you're juggling a lot, but take a breath, really reset your mind, like, you'll get through it, right? So she appreciated Jada for talking with her through this whole thing, and it made her think a lot more deeper about this whole thing with Alex. And she's still continuing to write the novel because she has to keep herself busy regardless, right? Now, another pointless scene was the one with Theo and Jada, right? So earlier Theo saw JJ in this the square, right? So he is there, looking at JJ's badge again, and he's acting all weird like the first time. And JJ's like, are you okay? The last time we had this running, it was awkward. What's going on? So Theo just said, you know what, I have to go. So JJ's still confused, like, what's really going on? So now we find out why Theo is looking at JJ funny. So apparently he has an issue with JJ being back on the force, considering that JJ actually shot him all these years ago. And even though he forgave him and he's okay with him as a person, as a friend, he still can't believe that JJ really got back into the force, and he didn't even talk to him about this. And he's talking to Jada now, since she's a commissioner, that she can change it, like she can make that decision to let him go. Jada said, with all due respect, I'm not gonna let him go. He is a good cop. He's been here for a year, and I understand how devastating this must be to you. You got the PTSD and everything. All we can do is, like, reinforce some programs, and we all do her just to just vet all of the people who work here at the forest. But again, that's not enough to Theo. She said, you can talk to your stepmother, she is responsible for all that. So he's like, you're the commissioner, like you have a say so. Again, Jada is saying that she's not gonna let him go, right? She's sorry about how he feels, but she's not gonna do that, right? So she asked him, hey, did you talk to JJ about it? So he said he didn't do it because, again, like, he just can't believe that he would go through it. But I'm saying at the end of the day, JJ apologized all these years ago. He did the work. He definitely considered it carefully before going back on the force. So if Theo had a problem with him, he needed to talk to him. Um, he needed to talk to him directly about it before going to Jada. And I'm just thinking that is just stupid, honestly. So, anyways, moving forward, we see Alex and Brady, right? So Alex is filling in Brady finally about what's really going on in the business. And again, Brady's the last to know because everybody else knows except him. But he's really the type of way about it, as you should, because he's a part of the business. He has a company with Titan. So I think that he should have known, but maybe they think, he is so invested in his own family drama and then he's not really as cutthroat. I don't know why. What would be the reason why they didn't tell him? But maybe I'm speculating still. So, anyways, he apologized for him not knowing that. He said, I wish I didn't know because it has caused me sleepless nights. It's affected my relationship, everything like that. And Xander's not talking to me because he feels as if I should have done something when Tony interrupted us at the press meeting and I didn't shut him down right then and there. So now he's freezing me out, and now him and Philip are taking Steve's, right? So Brady said, that's his MO. That's how he is. He has to lash out on somebody when things are going wrong, right? So he just feels a type of way because, again, he works in the company and, he's asking Alex who else knows about it. So he said basically everybody in the family, like Sarah, Stephanie, Maggie, him. So basically, Sarah told him and Stephanie to kind of keep quiet because of the whole big fallout that would happen. And now that it's there, it's a whole big mess. And now Brady's worried about how his company is going to be affected. He said, look, we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that your company is not collateral damage in this, right? So anyways, he said he knows that Brady has a lot going on with his children and with Kristen being in jail. So Brady said, look, those things are my priority right now, just being there for my children. But I definitely will think more about how I can help to with this takeover and everything and keeping it on the wraps. So anyways, speaking of takeover and drama, Xander is talking with Philip, and Philip is just wondering, like, what is our next move, right? Because everything is up in the air right now with Tony threatening them with a lawsuit and, maybe possible blackmail. So he's wondering, like, what's the next move? So Xander said it's a lot of mess going on, and we don't know what exactly Tony wants in return, right? Knowing the bearers, they love to blackmail. That is their foreign language. So, sorry, native language, honestly. So Xander says in all this bad news, there's good news. So he says that the lawyers officially, legitimately have Philip as his co-CEO. So Philip is kind of hesitant about signing it because, again, it would feel as if it is just last minute, and now that Tony has been out there with his press conference and basically saying that they are fraudulent and all of that, why would it make sense for him to sign on? Like, it's gonna look a lot suspicious, right? So Xander said, look, regardless of how it may look, this is our best tactic that we can go forward with, right? So after some coaxing and everything, he signs the paperwork, and now he's officially Xander's co-CEO, right? So at this point, that is their first thing to do to see how best they can really turn this thing around. Now they go over to the Demira mansion and they talk with Tony, and Tony's like, so gentlemen, what is gonna be, right? Because we don't have no time to waste. So Xander said, like, name your price. Like, what do you want? So he said, look, I want my family company back, obviously, but I also want to take Titan with it as well. So they're saying, you can't take our father's company. Like, he built it from the ground up. So he said, I definitely understand when a family business is taken away from me. Like, I feel it all very well. But this is my terms, right? Unless you want to go through a lengthy, long, boring legal battle, I suggest you just work with my terms, right? Because even if we go through that, like, you might come out with nothing, right? It might cost you a lot more than what your company's worth. So I suggest that we do it this way instead of going through the courts, right? So Xander and Philip are thinking maybe we just go through the courts and, see what happens, right? Because Philip is now legitimately co-CEO, and that's gonna be strong standing. So he said, when did you do this? This morning. So again, that was a jam, but I was loving the whole interaction between Tony and the brothers. Tony is not here to play. He's serious about getting back his family company, and I'm definitely here for it. Honestly, like, if somebody had to take a step in because EJ, Kristen, and Chad wasn't gonna do it, so Tony definitely made his mark, right? So, anyways, Tony gave them a call to offer and said that, look, maybe I can buy out the company, right? So Xander said, the only way we would agree on that, and that was Philip's suggestion, honestly. He said that, what if we agree with you buying our company? Like, it has to be three times the market value, right? So Tony agrees on that. So he's like, what do you guys say? So they said, okay, let's think about it. So he said, okay, I'm going to give you 24 hours to think through this. But if you don't, I'm going to come to the public and tell them what I know. And I have all the evidence that is very damning. I'm going to let you guys fry, right? So Gabby meets up with Brady, and they're talking about the merger, and Brady just feels like he's always the last to know, and he feels as if Gabby already knew before him. So he's just feeling left out. At the same time, he feels as if he's at a crossroads. He doesn't know if he wants to still work with his father's company no more. But at the same time, he doesn't want to let go because, again, that's the only missing piece of him, and that's all that he has left. And you know that is the touching point of it all. So Gabby was also suggesting that he needs to go find a new passion and all that. Life is so short. Consider what he has lost in the past couple of months. As she was suggesting that she could run both Gabby Chic and Basic Black. So Brady knows that she's a woman of many talents and she can do it, but he doesn't want to part ways with it because of the fact that it is one of the last things of his father that he can hold on to, right? So she understands that, but she also says that, take my word and take my advice, like, do what makes you feel happy at the end of the day, right? Because with all this happening with Titan the Mirror crashing down, you might not have the company to really hold on to, and that's really the sticking point of it all, right? So he thinks about it as well, and wondering, what is his next move. So Stephanie gets a knock at the door, and it's Alex, because Alex told Brady earlier that he has something to take care of. So he's there to apologize to Stephanie for how he dealt with things and how he stormed out the day before. He was just under a lot of stress with the company merger being under pressure and everything. And he didn't mean to take it out on her, and he's sorry for acting like a jerk. So she accepts his apology. She understands, but at the same time, he gives her the key, and she's wondering, are you breaking up with me? So he says, no, it's never that. I just felt as if, you needed to give to the landlord, but that's my cheesy way of saying, hey, are you still interested to move in with me? I understand if you don't want to move in with me because of what happened the day prior, but I would appreciate it. I would love for us to really go to the next chapter. So she said, I would love that as well, but like, you walking out the day before reminds me of how Chad walked out on us all these months ago and everything, and I just don't want to go through that again. Like, if we're gonna go through problems, which you're going to, and I move in, like, you can't walk away. So he promises that he's not gonna walk out the next time, and even though they're gonna have fights, he's gonna stick it through with her, and he wants to really go to the next chapter there. So she agrees to move in with him, and she said that she talked to Jada and that Jada is good to cover the full rent. So she's more than happy to move in with him, and he's happy about that. So he shows her in They finally move in. When they move in, like somebody else was at the door. Somebody was at the door, and we don't know who it is that is actually knocking at the door. So it could be an ex of hers, or somebody suspicious that is linked to Stephanie. But he had a copy of her novel in his hands, so it could be Jeremy. It could be somebody that is of Stephanie's past. So let's see what happens. But that's it, guys. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to my channel. Comment below your thoughts on today's episode. I will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend.